Hey, what's up, guys? It's Kara, and I'm going to be doing a vlog for you today. I think this is my second or third one. I'm not really quite sure. But today, I'm just going to come and talk to you guys about pretty much what I've been doing recently. I've been doing a lot of streaming, or a little bit of streaming, and a lot of Worlds analysis, really. So I've been doing a lot of backseat tweeting in terms of my thoughts on the individual games. And I really have had pretty good feedback about this, and so I'm probably going to keep doing it. Apologies for people who follow me and really aren't interested, but I hope you are interested because Worlds is insane this year, and it's really, really, really fun to follow. In fact, I get up every day, and I plan to watch Worlds as well as do other stuff, so it's quite nice. In terms of group stages, we have Group A, and I'm just gonna go over pretty much what happened in the group stages and what happened in the first day of quarters. And tomorrow will be the second day of quarters, and I'll go into a little bit about that. So Group A, SKT OMG comes out on top. Both teams insanely good, like really, really good. SKT probably has the best mid laner I've seen ever. The most talented mid laner, maybe of this generation, maybe of definitely of this tournament so far. He is one of the best I've ever seen, and what makes him good is not only his champ pool, but also because he just plays and understands this game so well. Like his spacing in lane is really, 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 really good, and he just seems to always be able to get the jump on people and just execute stuff incredibly well. OMG also has an insane mid laner in terms of cool, but honestly, if I had to choose the most dominating mid lane performance, it'd definitely go over to Faker because he's just like a god. Like he's so good. The other people on the team, like Lemondogs, I don't really know about Lemondogs. Like I've heard a lot of hype. I saw Ocelot's vlog, and it said that Lemondogs, he still thinks Lemondogs are the best team in Europe, and a lot of European teams think so as well. But I really don't know. Like Lemondogs did not show up to Worlds this year, and even though they were in a really hard group, I just expected them to do a little bit better. But maybe that's like really high expectations because I saw how good Euro teams did in Group B. But I just expected there to be more, like definitely a little bit more progress in terms of, I don't know, playing well. And TSM also had a lot of hiccups here and there. Like they definitely didn't perform as well as I thought they would. But Turtle played like really well in all of his games. Turtle performed at a world-class level, and that surprised me because I did not expect him to be able to put this amount of this level of play out at Worlds, but he did. He definitely stepped his game up, and I was very, very, very impressed. And so were a lot of other people. I'm not really going to go from Mineski like Gaming Gear. They both went 08, and there's really not too much to talk about them because they're just outclassed, to be honest. Both the teams had one team that was just incredibly outclassed by everyone else. In Group B, so I'll go ahead and skip on to that. Fnatic and Gambit got out top two, and it's pretty much European domination in Group B. Like they literally went in and just destroyed everyone. It was quite incredible. Actually, it reminds me why Fnatic is considered a powerhouse and why Gambit was considered extremely, extremely good. And while Gambit may not have to have had the most consistent games coming here, their playoff games were kind of rocky. To be honest, their Group B games were really, really solid. Their wins were all pretty much on point. I was very surprised how much they improved. Alongside of this, the real disappointment was honestly Samsung Ozone was hyped so much going to this event, and I was even the one doing the hyping. I was like, hey guys, you know what? Ozone is really good. You should see Dade. Dade went ham in Spring Split. His Zed, I legitimately think his Zed is still the best in the world. I saw Faker Zed, I saw Dade Zed. Easy, or not easy, but I could tell Dade Zed was better. That's in my opinion. I thought it was better. But I felt like Dade just tilted so hard this event. I've tilted hard before. I've seen other people tilt. But Dade's tilt at this event was at a level I've never seen of a pro player before. I know he's better than what he played. I know he's better than what he showed, but something went wrong to where he just choked. I expected maybe it to happen for 1 or 2 days, but he choked for the entirety of the tournament, and it cost his team group stage. Honestly, I think everyone else on Ozone played pretty well, but Dade really didn't step his game up. And it's really disappointing because of all the people I wanted to watch, Dade was one of the mid laners I was most enthused about and telling people about how good he was. But I don't know, it just didn't happen. So I don't really know what to say. It's just disappointing. I'm sure it sucks for Samson Ozone, and it sucks to be him as well because he obviously probably feels like shit. I heard Ozone literally lost their games and were so pissed off they like left the studio within 5 minutes because they were just like talked for 1 second, just left immediately, and then flew back. I was like, all right, well, I don't know what's happening on their team, but maybe Dade might not even be playing for them after that, after this Worlds, which, based on his performance, I can't even say was was too unprecedented. And the last thing to talk about in this group is Vulcan. I just don't know. I don't know what to think about Vulcan. I think Vulcan's really, really good. I think Xmithie is really, really good at juggling. Probably top 2, easily top 3 jugglers in NA, and I would say extremely, extremely good. But he has these games where he just throws the game. Like I don't know what he thinks when he does stuff, and he just like does something random. Like the one Vi game against what was it, Gambit or something, where they were 2v bottom. They see 3 people there. He still goes in. They get double killed, and he goes in for a dragon and gets killed as well, and they baits ManCloud to die. And I was just like, all right, well, they just like those 2 decisions single-handedly lost the game, which sucks. Like obviously people have bad decisions sometimes. Like no one's perfect, but it was just like really, really big blunders that were pretty obvious, and it's something that may have been pretty consistent throughout Vulcan's split. Like Xmithie has games where he just like shines. Like he's so good. He improved probably the most of any player since Spring Split. But then there's just like a few games where he just was like, oh my god, what did he just do? And as well as that, I just felt like Cloud did well. Honestly, Cloud did fairly well in a lot of his games. He could have carried harder in some of them, but he certainly wasn't like did anything bad. Like I don't know. I think there's a lot of matchups that I think Zuna should have been able to win. Like I was really confused how what was it? Sona Caitlyn was getting zoned by Zyra 1v2. Zyra was out trading Sona Kate, and I was just it was an Ashe Zyra lane, and I was just so confused how that was happening. Like they literally got outplayed because they didn't know how to play the lane correctly. Like they spaced really, really bad, and I have no idea how that happened because that's something that shouldn't be happening at a world level, but it did, and because of stuff like that. Like Vulcan has to spend a lot of time just trying to recover their bot lane against some of these world-class bots. Like some of these world-class bots are insanely good, and you really, 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 really should be able to at least split even or be down a little bit CS. But if you're Caitlyn and you're losing the laning phase, like something went wrong, and that's something I don't know. I don't really know what it is, but I just feel like something went wrong, especially in terms of spacing in that lane. So I'm just gonna move on to quarters. I already told you the 2 that got through. So today was the first day of quarters, and it was C9 versus Fnatic. Unfortunately, the American Dream is dead. C9 lost 1-2 to Fnatic. I honestly thought the bans and picks were just really bad. Well, not really bad. Like the first game, I could kind of understand giving them Castle and Shen. Like they could have won. C9 definitely could have won the first game for sure. Even though picking Gragas in the Castle is terrible, like this is not a good pick because there's no kill potential there, and Castle outscales as soon as he hits 6, and has better roam potential, and it can run TP. Like just there's no way Gragas can out pressure Castle at any point in the game. It kind of sucks. But Meteos was always like C9 was almost able to carry this game. Like I think Meteos performed extremely well in all the games, and I remember people talking, they're like, Meteos' jungle style won't work against all these teams. But honestly, if you look at how Meteos plays in all these games, like, his style is the most efficient. Like, his style isn't like he just farms. His style is like, it's just streamlined efficiency. Like, the way he ends his jungle to get ganks off is insanely efficient. And it's like a jungling style that until you play against it, like, it doesn't really, you don't realize how inefficient you're playing. But a lot of the times, like, junglers are going to look at the games and be like, wow, like, C9 Meteos played some insanely interesting jungler. And, like, disregarding the fact that he didn't give blue buffs, he was just always just efficient with his movement. That's the best thing you can say about Meteos, is that he is the most efficient jungler I've ever seen. And certainly, I feel like he impacted the game more than Cyanide in a lot of situations, because it was like, I feel like Cyanide wasted a lot of his time, especially in that matchup. And there was not a single game where I felt like Meteos didn't perform acceptable or better than acceptable against Cyanide. I really think that had a few mistakes not been made in terms of the ban pick phase in games 1 and games 3, they definitely could have taken the series, but Fnatic just outplayed them because PK is just really, 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 really good. And the rest of the team, they synergize so well and they're so good at team fights that their transitions are very, very solid and they just know how to rotate well. Like, there's nothing really bad to say about Fnatic. They're just a solid, super solid team with a mid laner that's God. That's really, really godly. And the second matchup of the day was Sword versus Gambit. I expected Sword to come out like hard. Like I was with Doublelift on this. I thought Sword was going to come out swinging, and they didn't. In fact, they got smashed. They got stomped on the first game, and it was really disgusting. Like I was like, oh wow, take a step back, Gambit, please. You're injuring like a child right now. Like the way they were beating up on the first game on Sword Black, the first game, I was expecting a really bad series, but then they came back, and a lot of reasons why they came back was just because Prey and Kayn are probably one of the best bot lanes I've ever seen, and they abused that fully in games 2 and 3. They got first blood in all 3 games actually, and in games 2 and 3 they got first and second blood in the same way. They double killed bot lane because they just played it much, much better. I think I'm not gonna throw the whole blame game on the fact that like their bot lane lost, but I don't know exactly how they got outplayed at level 2 both games, but they did, and they caused had they just gone even second game and third game, they probably would have been fine, honestly, but they didn't. And Prey and Kayn played pretty much out of their minds. Like the only reason Sword is able to run Nunu is because of how good Prey is. Like that should say something. Like they're a team that can run a jungler that does literally nothing half the time because of how strong their AD carry is. That if you just peel for him, he'll carry you throughout the series. In fact, Sword is the only team in the entire event we've seen so far have a weaker mid laner but still win. And that's something that's very, very unique about their team. I feel like they only expect their mid laner to go even or like slightly behind, slightly ahead, and their side lanes will win for them because Expression played amazingly. Prey and Kayn played amazing. Watch is like really, really good, and their mid lane is just like he doesn't have to do anything. That's the biggest thing, is that he's not there to do anything because the other lanes are so good. If he does show up and do something, they'll like crush teams. But even if he doesn't show up and do anything, like his other lanes are incredibly strong, and it's something to keep notice of because they are the only team at this event we've seen so far that has that type of team structure, and it's something that's I don't know, very interesting to see how far they'll go with just having extremely strong non-mid players. Like maybe I had a bad feel of their mid laner who replaced Son. I think his name was Nanny or whatever, Nang-G or whatever. But I felt like there was no requirement that he had to outperform the other mid lane to be able to win the game. And typically I always feel like you have to do that. As a fellow mid laner, I feel like as the mid lane, if I don't outperform the other mid laner, we're gonna lose the game. But for them, they just like they trust. I just feel like they trust Prey to carry them, and that's something that's very unique. And I'm certainly interested to see how far they go. With Gambit and C9 out of the way, we have Gambit Bears, SKT1, and the Chinese teams tomorrow. I'll be going to those personally, so you probably won't be seeing me too much or me tweeting too much, but I really hope Gambit Bears upsets SKT1. I just don't see it happening though. From what I've heard about Gambit Bears and how they play in scrims and just their level of play so far, I don't see them beating probably the favorite of the entire worlds. SKT1 has solid, every lane is solid, and their mid lane is the best. So I don't see it happening, but I'm praying for you, Gambit Bears. Please go to work. But the more interesting game for tomorrow, definitely for me, is Royal versus OMG. I've always been pretty big Royal fans ever since I I talked to Tabe like a long time ago, back in WCG, where we were both in Korea, and it was two NA WCG teams, and we lost to the other team. After that, I think everyone decided to go to the aquarium, and me and Tabe were like, "Hey, you know what? I don't really want to go." Or like, I didn't want to go to the aquarium, and Tabe was like, "You want to hang out?" And I'm like, "Sure." So we went to go hang out at like a LAN cafe, and we just talked about life and stuff like that. Ever since then, I always thought Tabe was really really cool, and because of that, he's whatever team he's on is going to be a team that I will always cheer for. Royal also runs anti support, and anything that's unique like that, I'm all down for. Problem is, I still think with all that behind them, OMG's going to give Royal a hell of a hard time. I expect it to be very, very close games, regardless of the outcome. Close, not in terms of score, like 2-0, 2-1 could certainly happen, but close in terms of games, I definitely expect to see. I honestly just kind of want to, like, from what I understand, I think this is Royal's last Worlds. I think two of their members, from what I hear, are just going to quit or retire after this Worlds, potentially. And I just want to cheer for them as they hopefully try to win against OMG, which I'm hearing is the strongest team. And they've definitely shown that they're incredibly competent. But as an aside, I guess, I kind of am sad that these two Chinese teams have to face each other, because I feel like teams from the same region shouldn't be able to choose each other as a their first round going to semis, or that the format of the tournament really isn't ideal. And it's something that I'm sure Riot knows. Like, a lot of people complain about the format. It's like, okay, well, C9, like, all we get to see about the #1 NA team, and certainly, like, there's no question C9 is the #1 NA team, because they went head to head with Fnatic, or like maybe not head to head, but maybe a little bit worse. But they're obviously the best in NA, and to only see 3 games of them, or one best of 3 of them, is, I feel like, tragic, really. Like, I'd like the format to be a little bit different, and something I know Riot's working on for next year, but yeah, it just sucks. As a spectator, I feel like it just sucks, and there's really not another way to phrase it, and I'm not really going to try to call it anything else. But as a final note, I am streaming again, so, like, I try to hit 3 to 4 times a week, so definitely check me out on my Twitch channel, twitchtv.tv or twitch.tv/Kara, and definitely follow me on Twitter, because you'll know everything that I do, and then you'll get spammed a shitload about Worlds at @dskara. So I'm gonna go to sleep, because it's like 3:30 a.m. and I hope you guys enjoy the game tomorrow, because I will definitely be there to watch and cheer on Royal. Ooh, got Tabe. All right, see you guys. Peace.